So apparently Taylor Swift is being canceled now. And not even by her enemies. She's being canceled by her own fans. The portion of her fandom is canceling her because A, her new album is kind of cringe, and B, apparently she's being accused of being a secret Trump supporter. Yeah. And most people take this cancellation at face value. They think she's being canceled for these two reasons, to the point where you see some people in videos and in posts trying to defend her by arguing the other side out of their positions. They're like, oh, well, but the album is not so bad. It's actually consistent with... Listen, don't waste your breath, okay? This is not what is happening. This is not why they are attacking her. Save your breath, okay? Taylor Swift is not being attacked because her new album sucks, and she's not being attacked because of her politics. Those are just the weapons. They're attacking her through those things. Your album sucks. You're a racist. The real reason they're attacking her is pretty different, okay? This is a case of intrasexual competition. This is social power struggles that happen underneath the surface. And I want to explain to you what is going on, because I think that even if you don't care about Taylor Swift, knowing how social dynamics play out is something that widens your horizon. Suddenly you see a whole world that was hidden from your view. And this makes you gain a new perspective. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to explain to you why Taylor Swift is being canceled. All right. So in a nutshell, Taylor Swift was part of a tribe. And she was so much part of a tribe that they crowned her their queen. But then she did something that told the rest of the tribe she didn't really belong to the tribe. And in fact, maybe she never belonged to the tribe, and she had been posing all along. See, she had duped them. And what was it that she did? Well, very simple. She got engaged to Trevor Kelsey. But Yael, why is getting engaged such a big deal? Why would it gain her the repudiation of her own fandom? Okay, let me explain it to you. You see, Taylor Swift built her entire platform on the idea that she was an outcast. She did not belong. She was a social outcast at school, where girls did not accept her. She was a social outcast with boys who kept breaking her heart. She was a very lonely person, and the only ones she could trust were her own cats. Okay? So the fans that she got were people who felt the same way too. They were people who felt like outcasts themselves. And so they were her fans because within her fandom, they found a place where they finally belonged. This is why Taylor Swift's fan base was so intense. They weren't there for the music. They were there for the inclusion. So when Taylor Swift managed to sell herself as a misfit, and that was something that I found pretty incredible, pretty shocking. You want to know why? Because she looks nothing like an outcast. She looks like the poster boy for cheerleaders worldwide. She's a 6-foot-tall blonde, skinny, beautiful, talented. How is she not a cheerleader? How is she an outcast? Well, in order to sell this image of herself, she had to put out songs all the time telling everybody just how much of a misfit she was. All of her breakup songs are about her own breakups, but really, one layer down, what the songs are really about are I am not that attractive. Boys break up with me all the time. I may look like I am a 10, but in reality, I am a 5, just like you. You see? See where I'm going with this? So everybody in her fandom felt really connected to her because they felt that even though she was so attractive, she was one of them. And in fact, the fact that she looked like a Barbie was only good because they could feel like, oh my God, she looks like a Barbie, but she's one of us. She looks like a Barbie, but she's a misfit just like me. Maybe I too am a little bit like Barbie. You see? She looked like a cheerleader, the person who would reject them, but she was actually opening her arms and telling them, I accept you. And that was intoxicating. So what happened when she got engaged to Trevor Kelsey? It was a Scooby-Doo moment, okay? It was a Scooby-Doo moment. It was like taking off her mask to reveal that she was a cheerleader all along. We knew it. We knew you were a cheerleader. You were not a misfit. You duped us. And that's how they felt. They felt betrayed. They felt like she was getting engaged to the literal quarterback. Right? She was getting engaged to the literal quarterback. She was a cheerleader then. Was she using us all along? She fell off her pedestal as an idol the minute that she got engaged to Trevor Kelsey, and she looked happy about it. And she rubbed some salt into the wound too, with her new album, you see. Because all the people that were her fans that suddenly saw this happening, they were feeling all of these negative things inside of them, all of this envy, hatred, resentment, betrayal, all of that was bubbling up inside of them, but they really didn't know what to feel in the moment. They couldn't express it, because if she announces her engagement and people go like, boo, boo, then what does it say about them? That they're sad that she's happy. They had to keep quiet. So outwardly, they were applauding, bravo, Taylor. But on the inside, a storm was brewing. And they were just waiting for a moment to have the permission to let it all out. They couldn't do it then because they didn't know if all the other people around them felt the same way, and they didn't want to risk the whole fandom turning against them for saying like boo, boo. So they needed her to slip up. And that's what happened with this album, because not only did she get engaged to the quarterback, revealing to everybody that she was a cheerleader all along, no. On top of that, she wrote a song, a literal song, about Travis Kelce's cock, right? She named the song Wood, and in that song, she made an ode to his pecker, how much she likes to be rammed by him, and how happy she is about all of that. So obviously, like, that was like rubbing salt on the wound. She has a bunch of fans who feel very inadequate, they feel misfits, they have no success in love. That's what you build your career on, woman. And now they're seeing like, oh my God. And she's boasting about it too? Yeah, very tone deaf on the part of Taylor Swift. And that gave them the permission to come forward and cancel her, which was something they wanted to do since she announced her engagement. Don't be mistaken. Don't think they were genuinely happy for her just because they didn't criticize her at the time that happened. So that's what happened to Taylor Swift. And now, to close this with a golden brooch, I am going to tell you how female relationships work. Because I think right now, your level of understanding of what happened is at the level of idol falls off pedestal. But if I explain to you how female relationships work, you're going to walk away with a full understanding. You see, female friendships are always happen in groups. Women relate to one another in groups of friends. And within these groups, it's very important to maintain the illusion that we're all equal. Doesn't matter what we look like, we're all equally attractive. Doesn't matter how we act, we're all equally virtuous. Very important. Why? Because women are always competing with one another for the attention of men. And if there is inequality, and especially if there's inequality that is recognized by one another, then the more attractive ones become a threat to the least attractive ones. The least attractive ones then harbor resentment towards the attractive ones, and then they want to harm them. And that becomes very chaotic. So the strategy, evolutionarily speaking, the strategy was for all the women in the group to support the fantasy, the outward lie that they were all the same in every way. This is why on videos like the ones on Jubilee, where they pick 6 women and they tell them, put yourselves in order of attractiveness from 1 to 6. And in the mix, they always include one very attractive woman and one very unattractive one. They'll always tell the unattractive woman to go over to the first spot. You're the most attractive one, baby. Oh yeah, don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And if you're someone who has no instinct for these things, and you see this video, you don't understand what is happening. Like, she's very clearly not the most attractive one. In fact, she's the least attractive one by a wide margin. Why are they placing her as number 1? I'll tell you why. It's because they have to maintain the fantasy. In order to continue to be friends with other women, you have to lie. Lying is your key to be accepted. It tells the other girls, I am loyal, you see. I am willing to lie. I am willing to maintain the fantasy in order to continue to be accepted. So I'm safe. What would happen if some of these girls, like anyone here in the Jubilee exercise, would go and say, what are you doing? Like, she's not the most attractive one. She's clearly the least attractive one. The most attractive one is Mary. Or if they would say, you know what, I am not the most attractive one. I'm going to go willingly and place myself number 3. And it's accurate. And what she's saying is accurate. Well, not only would the least attractive woman be very mad at her, but everybody else would exclude her too, because she's breaking the illusion that they're all the same. And by breaking the illusion, she's excluded from the tribe. And that is exactly what Taylor Swift did, because Taylor Swift was a 5. She said, I may look like a 10, but in reality, everything works out for me like I was a 5, just like you. See, she was lying. She was making everybody feel comfortable with the fantasy that they were all equal. But then she goes ahead, gets engaged to Trevor Kelsey, and writes a song about his cock. All of a sudden, she's saying, no, I'm not a 5, I'm a 10. Joke's on you. And this is why they're all canceling her now. This is why she's no longer allowed within the tribe, which is, it's a very big problem, because now they're going to have to find somebody else to attach to. There used to be the Taylor Swift fandom. What is the Taylor Swift fandom without Taylor Swift? I don't know. Maybe they're going to go simp for Chappelle Roan now. I don't know. Anyway, that's how I feel about Taylor Swift. I hope that this opened your eyes a little bit. Stop trying to defend her by reasoning with these people.
I'm not going to walk home with any men tonight. I go home to the cats.